UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the UK will recognise a Palestinian state unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza.
Russian strikes in Kamianska kill 2 people and damage a maternity hospital.
Authorities in Poland have charged a Colombian national with terror offences for his role in 2 arson attacks allegedly carried out on behalf of Russia.
4 people, including a police officer, were killed when a gunman opened fire at a Manhattan office in New York City.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said on Tuesday the UK will recognise a Palestinian state in September unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza. Starmer called ministers together for a rare summertime cabinet meeting to discuss the situation in the Strip.
This is the moment to act. So today, as part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza.
Starmer added that Israel needed to take steps towards long-term peace, reviving the prospect of a 2-state solution, as well as allowing the UN to distribute aid and ensuring that no annexations take place in the West Bank. On the other hand, Starmer reminded that Hamas must release all the remaining hostages, sign up to a ceasefire, disarm and play no part in the government of Gaza. France welcomed the announcement, with Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot saying that the United Kingdom was joining the momentum created by France for the recognition of Palestine. A few hours before Starmer's announcement, a UN-backed hunger monitor group said the worst-case scenario of famine is currently unfolding in the enclave. Famine is now unfolding in Gaza, says the leading global authority on food crisis, while also predicting widespread death if immediate action is not taken. The UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC, says that, quote, mounting evidence shows that widespread starvation, malnutrition and disease are driving a rise in hunger-related deaths. Under global pressure, Israel announced over the weekend daily humanitarian pauses in fighting in parts of Gaza and airdrops, though the UN and Palestinians on the ground say that has brought only minimal change. Jordan, the UAE and other countries airdropped aid over Gaza on Tuesday. But Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar called the claims of starvation in Gaza a lie, and that the focus on starvation is a, quote, distorted campaign of international pressure. The declaration of a formal famine, which is rare, requires key data, but limited access and movement in Gaza have made that nearly impossible. Separately, 2 Israeli human rights groups became the first such organizations to accuse the Israeli government of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. B'Tselem and Physicians for Human Rights Israel said Israel was carrying out a, quote, coordinated, deliberate action to destroy Palestinian society in the Gaza Strip.
A Russian attack on a prison in the Zaporizhzhia region overnight killed 17 inmates and wounded more than 80 others. At least 42 inmates, including a prison staff member, were hospitalized with serious injuries. The head of the Ukrainian presidential office, Andriy Yermak, denounced the strike as a war crime and called for economic sanctions to be placed on Russia. Meanwhile, 2 were killed, including a pregnant woman, and 5 were injured in Russian strikes on Kamianska overnight. The missile strike destroyed a 3-story building and damaged a nearby maternity hospital and city hospital ward. The strike came shortly after US President Donald Trump said he would reduce a 50-day deadline he previously set for Russia to agree to a truce in Ukraine to 10 or 12 days. Trump has expressed disappointment with Russia's President Vladimir Putin, who said he was continuing strikes against Ukraine despite his efforts to broker a ceasefire deal. Meanwhile, 4 Russian drones also hit the Sumy region on Monday afternoon, injuring a saleswoman and destroying local businesses and a residential building. An attack in Mykolaiv triggered a fire in the storage area of an agricultural enterprise, covering over 4,000 square meters and destroying 3 cars.
Authorities in Poland have charged a Colombian national with terror offences for his role in 2 arson attacks allegedly carried out on behalf of Russia. Poland's counterintelligence agency said the 27-year-old set fire to 2 construction supply depots in May last year, following orders from Moscow.
Nie mamy dzisiaj wątpliwości, że ta aktywność rosyjska, ona także dotyczy pewnych zorganizowanych środowisk politycznych i że destabilizacja sytuacji na granicach, próba paraliżowania pracy naszych służb bardzo blisko są tych drastycznych akcji dywersyjnych, takich jak próby podpaleń czy pobić.
Russian secret services allegedly encouraged South American citizens coming to the EU to commit crimes, offering them an easy way to make money. Portugal has announced new measures to strengthen its power grid after a blackout cut electricity to much of the Iberian Peninsula for hours in April. The new plan includes €137 million worth of investments in grid upgrades, increasing the number of power stations and stronger protection for key infrastructure.
Podemos e devemos retirar lições de eventos como este. E é o que fizemos e estamos a fazer. Não para garantir que não se voltarão a repetir, porque essa é uma promessa que ninguém pode fazer. Mas para assegurar que, se tal acontecer, estaremos ainda mais bem preparados e seremos ainda mais capazes.
The April blackout began around midday in Spain and Portugal and lasted through nightfall. It disrupted businesses, public transport, phone networks, the internet and other infrastructure.
4 people, including a police officer, were killed when a gunman opened fire at a Manhattan office in New York City. The gunman shot several people in the lobby of the building before proceeding to the 33rd floor, where he killed another person. The man then fatally shot himself.
Our hearts are heavy. 5 innocent people shot tonight. We lost 4 souls to another senseless act of gun violence, including a member of the New York City Police Department, Officer Islam.
Several others were injured, including one who remains in critical condition. The gunman was identified as a man from Las Vegas who traveled cross-country to New York City. An investigation into his motive and why he chose that specific location is underway.
Former Colombian President Alvaro Uribe has been convicted of witness tampering and bribery. The ruling marks a dramatic fall for one of the country's most influential political figures. Prosecutors said Uribe tried to manipulate witnesses who linked him to right-wing paramilitary groups. The trial lasted 6 months. Uribe could face up to 12 years in prison. His sentence will be announced at a later hearing, but he is expected to appeal.
The Chinese central government has said it will begin offering childcare subsidies as the country faces unprecedented low birth rates. The aid of just over €430 per year will be given to families for their first, second and third child up to the age of 3 starting this year. The Chinese Communist Party said the nationwide rollout of cash subsidies will help ease the pressure of childcare expenses and will help to prevent a further decline in the fertility rate. China's one-child policy was officially scrapped in 2015 after years of increasingly loose enforcement.
The unbearable burden of global prices increases hunger in Africa and Asia, including the Middle East. According to State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World Survey, the so-called SOFI Report 2025, trade tensions, conflicts, and climate change are the main causes of the world's food inflation.
So still, the situation is quite alarming, especially in Africa and especially in the Middle East. I would say those are the two areas where we're seeing the numbers continue to increase. So it's a mixture between the conflicts, I would say some of the disruption or shocks because of economic or trade tensions, and also the climate shocks. So the three are the three main drivers.
The proportion of the population facing hunger in Africa surpassed 20% in 2024, affecting 307 million people, while in Western Asia, an estimated 12.7% of the population, or more than 39 million people, faced hunger in 2024. Increasingly dire living conditions for small farmers and rural populations in the developing countries is a catalyst of economic migration flows.
It's very clear that when people do not have the ability of really having a livelihood where they are, then they are forced to migrate. So there's obviously a relationship many times between migration, the ability of feeding themselves, the ability of also saving with that food production.
Small-scale farmers produce 1/3 of the world's food and up to 70% of the food in Africa. They are essential to food supply and food security in their countries, yet they live in poverty and hunger. 80% of the world's poorest live in the rural areas of developing countries.